Alrighty, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to be building out a function that will allow us to create tables. Now, to create tables, I mean directly from the application, not from our PHP my admin. So if you remember, we didn't actually create any tables in the CMS, and so we're going to create a function now. And if we go back to our database folder or file here, and I'm just going to create a new function. I'm going to call this public function create table. And this is going to take in a table, some fields, a primary key, and by default, I'm going to set the equal to null, and then $options, and by default this is going to be an empty string. That options would be like if we were going to use UTF-8 or whatever character system you want to use. That's what the options would be. In fact, just well, we'll leave that empty and just use the default that comes with MySQL. And then if you want to change it, you can. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an SQL statement. So $SQL is equal to create table, and this is going to take it. And in fact, we're going to create table if the table does not already exist. And this will take in the table, and then in opening parenthesis. We're also going to check if is array for the fields, and we're not going to count the fields actually. What we're going to do is we're going to do a for each $fields as $field, and then the field type if we actually want to add a field type to that as well. And then this will just be $SQL dot equals, and then $field, do the field type, and then a comma. Okay, so outside that if statement, we're going to say $SQL is equal to our trim $SQL, and then we're just going to trim that last space and comma. And then we're going to see if not empty $primary key, and if it's not empty, we'll say $SQL dot equals comma primary key, and then we'll say the primary key. Okay, and then we'll just say $SQL dot equals, and then we'll do that parenthesis. So close parenthesis, and then we'll follow up with $options, and then finally we'll return this query and the SQL, and we're not going to be passing any conditionals or anything through it, or any parameters or anything, so this will only be the SQL. Now, if we go back to our index, we have the db get instance. If we tag on our create table, and we add, let's say, posts, and then do $fields, and then field post underscore ID, and then let's create $fields, set that equal to array, and what we'll do is we can do something like this, where the post ID is an integer, int, and we can do not null and auto increment, and then we can do a post underscore title with a varchar, post content with text, and then author, date, we'll do date time, and then we'll set default, and we'll use the now function, primary key. So that'll be everything that we actually set for that. And if we save it, we go back to our page here and refresh. Oh, apparently that's depreciated on line 35. Okay. Okay. I think I set this to results instead of result. Yeah, because I had originally created that as results. Now let's just check and see if it actually it did actually create the post table with our post ID, title, body, author, date, and if we were to insert, and let's just say test, 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 and we click go, browse, it auto increments, so it starts at 1 and it gets today's date with the because of the date.now. So that's working as expected. And if we refresh, the error is not there, and it shouldn't create a duplicate table, which it doesn't, as you can see. And so let's change this. We'll test it one more time just to make sure that that warning isn't there anymore. Index, and we'll do users, and we can do something like this. We do like auto increment, integer auto increment. Not gonna do primary key because we'll change this post ID to user e. Close that, and then we can just use username, varchar, password, email, created at, updated at, deleted at. Okay, that's good. That's good enough for what we're trying to do here, because we're just trying to test this anyways. So if I refresh, no errors. If I go here, it created a users. And that is exactly what we want it to do. So now, when we actually go into our model, we can define what we want the table to look like. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. So that's perfect. So we're gonna keep the tables here temporarily because we're gonna delete them later. But while we're testing our database class, I'm gonna go ahead and just keep them there. Let's see. So there are a few functions that we'll build in the upcoming episodes. So I think in the next episode, what I'll do is I will just do all of our getters and setters, and then you know what? I'll do our CRUD our CRUD functions first, and then we'll do all the other functions next. Alrighty. Well, this has been part 2, and part 3 should be coming up pretty soon.